bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ELP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ELP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ELP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ELP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ELP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ELP, your path to global success. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ELP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path to global success. Di era kompetisi global, ELP atau English Language Programs hadir sebagai mitra terpercaya untuk pengembangan kompetensi bahasa Inggris Anda. Kami menyediakan program komprehensif untuk seluruh jenjang usia, mulai dari kids, teens, hingga adults, serta persiapan intensif bagi ujian internasional seperti TOEFL, IELTS, dan TOEIC. Rasakan pengalaman belajar autentik langsung bersama native speakers. Saat ini, ILP siap melayani Anda di cabang Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Segera bergabung dan tingkatkan daya saing Anda di kancah internasional. ILP, your path
Hmm.
Oke, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Hi, Miss
Assalamualaikum.
Mia. I can
Hai,
see you.
Mr. Erik. Halo. Nah, sambil nunggu partisipan lainnya ya. Oke.
I can hear you.
Nah, boleh nih teman-teman yang baru masuk, coba kasih tahu alamatnya, bukan alamatnya, asalnya dari kota mana aja nih.
Oh my goodness. Very.
Banyak ada about 58 participants. Boleh di Oke. Ya, kita lihat chat box.
Tes tes cek cek. Hmm.
Hmm. Kita lihat nih, ada Sumedang, Bandung. Oke. Yang lainnya dari mana lagi? Sumedang juga. Wah, oke. Ciamis. Oh, ada Ciamis ya. Alright, Sumedang lagi. Sumedang Pride. Wow, oke, banyak Sumedang ya. Sumedang. Wah, ini banyak Sumedang. Oh, Jakarta. Ada yang dari Jakarta juga. Wow, oke. It's nice. Majalengka juga ada. Lintas kabupaten. Oke. Ya, ini baru 70 participants nih. Oke, ini mayoritas mahasiswa kah atau sudah bekerja? Mahasiswa, fresh graduate. Oke. Ada yang fresh graduate. Mahasiswa, oke. Ya, intern. Mahasiswa juga. Banyakkan mahasiswa ya. Oke. Iya, banyak mahasiswa nih. Oke, kita mulai aja ya, biar tidak terlalu malam selesainya. So, I'm gonna start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Uh, ya, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar titled Mastering TOEFL ITP with Native and Experienced Tutors. I am Mia Rahmawati, and I will be your host for today. First of all, let's thank the Almighty God for the blessing, allowing us to attend this virtual event in good health. And I would like to welcome our honorable guests, Ms. Dia Gusrayani and Mr. Asda Zunaidi, as well as the honorable speakers, Mr. Nindara and Ms. Laura Elizabeth, and all participants who have joined us today from various locations. Um, Let me use the language ya, izinkan saya untuk mencampur bahasa. Tadi saya lihat ada beberapa orang dari Ciamis, kemudian Sumedang ya paling banyak, and then Bandung juga ada, Jakarta juga ada, mayoritas Jakarta juga. Um, Sekarang kita pindah ke welcoming and rules ya. Sekarang kita lihat agendanya. So before we begin, I would like to share the agenda for today's session. The first is opening by the host, and then the second agenda is opening speech, and the third is presentation by the speakers. The fourth is Q&A session, and the last one is closing. So for all participants, please ensure your microphone is muted during the presentation. If you have any questions, you may use the chat box or the Q&A feature, and we will address them during the dedicated session. Without further ado, let's move on to the opening speech session, which will be delivered by Ms. Diah Busrayani, MPD, as the Director of ELP. So please, Ms. Diah, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Miss Mia.
Okay.
Am I audible enough?
Yes, Miss, I can hear you clearly.
Oke, thank you. Karena di sini biasanya tidak bagus sinyalnya, tapi terdengar ya, Miss Mia and everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Dan ada Pak Asda, Allahu Akbar, I really miss you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes,
Susah
yes.
banget ini.
Carry on.
Bapak satu ini lebih sibuk dari Pak Jokowi. Oke, baik. Aduh, saya duluan ini ya yang harus opening speech. Oke, tapi tidak apa-apa. I have prepared something, and I think I'm gonna convey this opening speech. Pak Erik juga ada di sini ya, Pak Erik Padma. Halo, long time no see. Pak Asda, Pak Erik, so glad to have you both in this meeting room. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this webinar, yeah, TOEFL Mastery and Training with Native Speakers, proudly held by English Language Programs. Well, it is truly wonderful to have all of you here today. Thank you for taking the time to join us, to invest in yourself, and to take one meaningful step closer to your academic, professional, and personal dreams. TOEFL is often seen as just a test or a score, a requirement, or a gate we need to pass through for scholarship, for example, or study abroad, or let's say graduation, or career opportunities, or even international programs. But today I would like to invite all of us to see TOEFL from a slightly different perspective. TOEFL is not only about answering questions correctly, right, Pasda? It is about understanding how English works in real academic communication. It is about listening with focus, reading with strategy, speaking with confidence, and writing with clarity. More importantly, it is about preparing ourselves to enter a wider world where ideas, opportunities, and connections are often shared through English. Many learners feel nervous when they hear the word TOEFL or IELTS or TOEIC. Some may think, my English is not good enough, or others may wonder, where should I start? Some may have tried before, but felt stuck with their score. If you feel that way, please know that you are not alone. Well, TOEFL or IELTS can be challenging, but it's not impossible. With the right strategies, consistent practice, supportive guidance, and real exposure to natural English, progress is absolutely possible. That is why today's session is special. Through this webinar, English language programs would like to create not only a learning space, but also a motivating space, a place where you can understand TOEFL more clearly, learn practical strategies, and discover how training with native speakers can help you improve your fluency, pronunciation, confidence, and natural communication skills. Learning with native speakers gives us something beyond textbook. It allows us to experience the rhythm of real English, the natural expressions, the way ideas are delivered, and the confidence to respond in authentic conversations. At the same time, TOEFL mastery requires structure, discipline, and strategy. And when these two elements meet, real communication and also test preparation, then we create a powerful path for improvement. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, today is not just about attending a webinar, I hope. Okay, it's about opening a door to better preparation, better confidence, and better opportunities. Perhaps this session will be the beginning of your TOEFL or IELTS journey. Perhaps it will be the moment you finally understand what has been holding you back thus far. Or perhaps it will simply remind you that your dream is still possible and you are capable of moving toward it. So I warmly invite all of you to be fully present in this session. Listen actively, take notes if necessary, ask questions, and allow yourself to be curious. Don't be afraid of making mistakes, because every mistake in learning is actually a sign that you are trying, growing, and moving forward. So, on behalf of English language programs, which should be Pak Asda ya, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to our speakers, facilitators, team members, and all participants who have made this event possible. We hope this webinar will give you valuable insights, renewed motivation, and practical direction for your TOEFL preparation. May today's session be inspiring, useful, and meaningful for all of us. Once again, welcome to TOEFL and IELTS Mastery and Training with Native Speakers, and let us begin this journey together with confidence, curiosity, and courage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Dia Gusrayani, for delivering the opening speech. That was very motivating. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Asda Zunaidi, MPD, as the Director of Studies of ELP. Over to you, Mr. Asda.
Okay, thank you, Miss Mia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
I just
wabarakatuh.
we last met Ibu Dr. Dia. Okay, and Pak Rahmat as well, Mr. Eric, and then
Hello, sir.
everyone here. So everything has been mentioned by Ibu Dia. So I don't think I'll have to give you, any more remarks. Yeah, I just simply want to welcome everyone to tonight's webinar, and I hope that everyone will find it useful. I'm also going to watch and then learn a lot of things, I believe, from Laura. Thank you, Laura, and also Pak Andri, yeah, who will be our speakers tonight. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Asda Zunaidi for delivering the opening speech. All right, finally, we've come to the main part of the webinar. I'm going to invite Ms. Rima as the moderator to take over the session, please. Ms. Rima?
Hello, Miss Mia. Good evening. Nice to see you here.
Okay.
Yes? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. It's audible. Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Thank you so much, Miss Mia.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, good evening, all respectful participants. Welcome to our webinar tonight. I'm Rima Laranesha, one of the tutors in ELB, and I will be your moderator for this session tonight. And we'll have presentation from two keynote speaker, and it'll be ended by Q&A sessions, as Miss Mia said it before. And it's a pleasure to see you all here and to see many enthusiastic TOEFL fighters joining us tonight. And before we start, kindly remind you one more time, please keep your microphone muted during the presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. And we ask them during the Q&A session at the end. All right, without any further ado, allow me to introduce the first keynote speaker, Mr. Andri. We are honored to have with us a highly experienced language and communication specialist for over 20 years of experience in English training, Bahasa Indonesia instruction for foreign professionals, and English Indonesia interpreting translation also. And specializes in IELTS and TOEFL preparations, of course, academic and business communication, and technical interpreting and engineering operational environments. Strong leadership background as academic team leader and teacher trainer, mentoring instructors and designing high impact language program also. Without any further ado, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Andri Munggara. The time is yours, Mr. Andri.
All right.
Hello,
Hello,
Mr.
everyone.
Andri. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Rima, Miss Mia, and then thank you,
Welcome.
Pa Asda, Pa, and Ibu Dia. Okay, and I'm going to start, but it is not the listening. I'm going to talk about the structure. Then the listening and reading will be delivered by and the other speaker. Yeah. So let me start with sharing my slides here. Hold on. Is it on the screen, everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
Pak.
Yeah, hold on. All right. Okay, hello everyone. Yeah, my name is Andri. Just call me Andri. And for this session, I'm going to talk about the structure or the second section in the TOEFL ITP. Yeah, maybe you have taken the TOEFL test before, so you know some of the section. No, I mean all the sections. But then what we have here is only there are only three sections. The first one is listening. The second one is this one, the one that I'm going to deliver, the structure and written expressions. And then the last one is reading comprehension. Okay, so I put the title here, Cracking the TOEFL ITP. Okay, and I have some. Hold on. Okay, I have some parts. There are 8 here. I hope this is enough. I believe I have how many minutes? Like 45 minutes or 1 hour for this one, explaining or presenting this structure and written expression. Yeah, with this points number 1 until number 8, you can see on the screen, and I'm going to start with the first one. Okay. As you can see on the screen, maybe this is also what you think or what you say, or at least this sounds familiar. Yeah, the 3 sentences, like grammar is difficult, and then understand English, but TOEFL questions confuse me, and also the other one there, I always run out of time. Okay, but then the good news is TOEFL grammar is not about difficult English. Yeah, it is about recognizing the patterns, and you have to do this quickly because the time is limited. How many minutes do you have to complete all the structure section here? If you know, just turn on your microphone and you say something, please. Okay. So I don't want to be like, maybe we can be interactive as well. You can also say something, commenting, or, but then the questions will be at the end, or just say something if you think it's necessary for you to make some comments. Yeah. And so, the next one, hold on. Okay. This structure, the second section in TOEFL ITP, there are 40 questions, and I told you before, the time is only 25 minutes. So you can do the math. How many minutes, how many seconds you have to complete one question? You do the math, okay? So it is very short time, and you have to do this. So that means, yeah, you have to do this quickly. And there are two parts. There are two parts in this structure section. One is structure, and then the other one is written expression. And then the first one, you have 15 questions. And then the other one, or written expression, it comes with 25 questions. So all will be 40 questions. Okay. And then, all right, this is part A, sample, the structure questions. So right here, what you have to do is to complete an incomplete sentence. So everything or every question in this section 2 comes in a sentence. So you have to complete the sentence here in the structure, but then the other one later, you have to choose which one is wrong. So the other one is not like this, but then it is complete, but then there's something wrong. There's something wrong there. Okay. For this one, for example, you can, as I told you, turn on your microphone so then you can also say something. Look at this sentence. Look at this question, TOEFL question. Yeah, there's something missing there. There is a blank. What do you think it is? What do you need to put there? And then remember, when you have a sentence, you need to have a subject, and then the other one is at least the subject and the verb. So the sentence, what makes a sentence, these two parts, these 2 points, the subject and the verb. Okay, do we have the subject here? Okay, yes, we do. We have the subjects, and that is the students. And then do we have the verb? Check the subject, check the verb. That is like you can call this the king here that we need to check at the beginning when you are doing or completing these questions. Okay, and yes, yeah, you have to identify the subject, and then the correct verb, and then grammar pattern. Yeah, so these 3 points that you have to do first, and these part or structural questions 1 to 15 focus heavily on these points, as you can see on the screen. You can read yourself, and the key here is you have to find what is missing. As I told you, the first one, check the subject, check the verb, and is the subject there, or where is the subject, or is the verb there? So then you can check these 2 points first at the beginning. Then later on, you will have to these grammar points like clauses, connectors, parallel structures, comparisons, articles. But of course, we don't
pakai internet ya, nanti Zoom.
we don't need to know everything, but then there are some points, there are some grammar points that we need, or these points always come in this TOEFL test again and again. Okay, then the second one, as I told you, it is not completing the sentence, but because the sentence complete already, but then there is one point wrong. What is wrong? Of course, it is grammatically wrong. Like this sample, she and then go to school every day. We know what is wrong here. Yeah, we have the subject, we have the verb, but then the verb is not correct. So this part will test you the grammar accuracy and then error detection and also attention to detail. You have to be detailed here. And again, more areas that will be tested here in the written expression. But then now it is not the other one like before completing the sentence, but then you have to find what is missing. Okay. We'll move on to these important grammar points. Yeah. Yes, you have to master these grammar points. Of course, not all the grammar, but then check the points, check the areas that TOEFL repeats again and again. Okay, and this one, the sample, as we discussed before, subject-verb agreement. All right. Where is the subject? What is the subject? Those questions that you have to ask at the beginning. Where is the verb or what is the verb? Okay, is it there? Because there's something missing here. Yeah. For example, the books on the table, blank mine. Do we have the subject there? Do we have the verb? What is the subject? What is missing? Right? And look at the options. We have all B's there. That means we have the verb. Right? So the answer, I believe you also guessed this or you answered this correctly. Yes, it is. What is missing there is the verb. And the verb here, the options there we have is that those B's. And the correct one are why? What is subject? Check the subject here. The books. It is not singular. It is plural. Come with the S at the end of the noun. So that is the answer. Okay. And we have more trap in this structure questions. Yeah. And this one, they are called the prepositional phrase, like on the table, in the classroom, like that sample there. Yeah. They are distractions. Okay. The table is a noun, yes, but then it comes after the preposition. So this cannot be the subject. The noun coming after the preposition cannot be the subject. So you have to check which one is the correct subject. Yeah. If you think that the table is a subject, so then your answer will be wrong. It is not the table. So the table is singular. So then it will go with is there or was. Yeah. But then what we have as the subject is not the table, but the books. Right. Now, the second one, the second grammar point, the verb forms. Okay. Look at the screen. You can read yourself. Some verbs need to plus the verb or the verb plus ing. Yeah. To infinitive or gerund or these kinds of verb forms. Okay. For example, she suggested blank early. So what is the best answer here? What is the correct answer? Is it leave? Is it leaving? To leave or left? Then remember about elimination. So you have to eliminate which one that is not completely, or you can say completely wrong. For example, you cannot put this one left right there. So then you can eliminate this one. But then what we have for the answers, yeah, it can be leaving, it can be to leave. She suggested to leave, she suggested leaving early. Possible. Maybe there are two possible answers now. But then the correct one, you know that the word the word suggested here, yeah, it goes with the ing form. Or the verb plus ing, or the with ing here, so that means B is the answer. Okay. And move on to the next one. And you have to be aware of this as well. Clauses and connectors. Yeah. we have common connectors like because, although, when, and then the other connectors. And why do you have connectors? Remember what we have in the structure question, we have the sentence, a sentence. And you have a simple sentence and then compound sentences and then also the complex sentences. And when you have two more subjects, you have two subjects, two verbs, that means you need to connect. Yeah, you need to connect this clauses. Okay, for example, let's have a look. Blank, he was tired. This is a clause. And the other one, he finished the report, and that is also a clause. So we have two clauses. We have two subjects, he and he there, the subject, was tired, or was is the verb, and then finish is the verb as well. So we have two subjects, two verbs, and it can be a good sentence if you have a connector. So what is the best connector for this? If you can say something, please just turn on your microphone. Okay, let's have a look at the answer. Yeah. Why then the answer or the correct answer is because. Why not despite, not during, not in spite? Okay, you can see there, because is followed by a clause. Okay, but then despite and the in spite as well, followed by a noun or gerund. And what we have is a clause. So that's why the answer is that connector, because. Yeah. And this one is also a very common trap in TOEFL ITP structure. Yeah. Next one, parallel structure. And then the other one, comparisons. We have two grammar points on the screen now. The first one, or number 4 there, parallel structure. Remember, grammar must match. It has the rules. Okay, look at the wrong sentence. She likes reading, to write, and speaking. What is wrong here? We have reading, to write, and then speaking. There's one there is different. Reading there is with ing. That means a gerund, a noun there, reading. And then to infinitive, the other one is speaking. That's also gerund. And you have to remember this. TOEFL loves parallel structure. So this one has to be she likes reading, writing, and speaking. That's also an important grammar point. And then the next one, comparison, like taller than, more interesting, this comparative and also superlative. Yeah. Then avoid double comparative. Yeah. Like more better or more faster. Of course, they are wrong. Okay. Let's move on to articles. We have articles here, but then we have the samples with and n. We also have definite article the, but then we don't have the samples there. But the point here is about the difference of and n. Yeah. Remember, it is not about the spelling. It is about the sound. Look at the noun, what you have there, the beginning of the sound, like book. Is that consonant at the beginning? Book. That's consonant, right? So then the sound is consonant, then we need this article A. Okay. And a hotel, and then how about this one, number 3? European country. And here we have this spelling, this letter E, the spelling E, but then the sound is not from the vowel, but it is consonant. What? Y, European. So then we use a European country, a university, and then one-eyed pirate, a one-eyed pirate, and so on, with and also we have prepositions there, like interested in, good at. So then some certain words use the certain prepositions. You cannot put, for example, I'm good in. Yeah, but then it has this fixed preposition, good at. So preposition, articles, they're also important, and you have to memorize this. Or if you don't memorize, yeah, you can also have more and more exposure. So you listen to English a lot, you do it every day, you read, and then you also produce speaking or writing. Yeah, that means you have this contact every day with English, right? The next one, countable, uncountable nouns. Okay. We have this sample, much information. It is not many information, but you can also say a lot of information. Why? Information is countable or uncountable. So don't be confused with this. Yeah, information is uncountable. We use much. If it is countable, so then you use many, like many books, many pencils, many students. Yeah, and these samples of uncountable on the screen, like advice, furniture, homework, and many other words, uncountable nouns. Okay, let's move on to the traps. Okay, before we also had some traps, but then let's see more traps here. And yeah, they are dangerous, of course, yeah, because this will destroy your scores. Okay, so you have to be careful and watch out for these traps. Yeah, and it again, I can say that this comes a lot again and again. These TOEFL questions, like one set of TOEFL questions, the structure has always has this one. Okay, like the number and a number, the number versus a number. What's the difference? If you know the difference, you can say something, please. Okay, the number, the sample. Have a look. The number of students blank increasing. What do you need there? Do you have the subject? Of course. We have the number of students. And the verb is missing, or maybe it is not complete. And we can see this. The correct one is increasing. Why is not are? Because the subject is not the students, but the number. Again, subject, verb, and they have to have this agreement. Yeah, subject verb agreement. Okay. But then look at the difference. A number, the number, and a number of students, and we have this plural. Be, are absent. A number means many students. The number means one. Okay, look at the difference. Yeah, and the next one, either, neither, and either. When you have this, you have to check which one is closer to the verb, or which one is the closest subject here. Yeah, we have the teacher, and then the other one, the students. Neither the teacher nor the students. So then we will use the students as the subject. So that's why the answer is plural be were. The students were ready. Okay. Next, number 3, so versus such. So is followed by an adjective, and then such is followed by this noun phrase. Such a beautiful day, not the other way around. Yeah. Please remember that one. And then the other one, number 4, we have another and other. Another is singular, other is plural. Another book or other books. Okay. You cannot say another books. No, that should be singular. Okay. Next one. Few and a little. Few versus a little. Few students. That means we use few for students. Students countable nouns. So you use few with countable nouns, but little with uncountable nouns. And we have this vocabulary, rise versus raise. Yeah, rise means it moves by itself, but then raise, if you move something, you can move something like those samples. The sun rises, she raised her hand. She raised her children by herself, for example. Yeah. Next, 7 and 8, affect versus effect. One is a verb, and then the other one is a noun. And you can have a look at the sentences there or the samples. Yeah. Because affect is a verb. So that means you can have this with this sentence using modals. Will affect the crop growth. The cold weather will affect the crop growth. So it is not will effect, but will affect. And then effect there is the noun. Okay. And look at the sentence number 3. The new rule will affect us. That's the verb. Will affect. The modal will, followed by the base form of the verb affect. The second clause, but the overall effect. That's the noun, so we put the effect as the subject there. Will be positive. Yeah. Again, subject, the other one, and we have subject and verb, adverb. Okay. Look at the two samples. One is wrong, the other one is correct. She speaks English fluent. Of course, it is not the correct sentence because, look, we have speaks, the verb here. Yeah. So then you have to explain this verb. How does she speak? And the answer, you need an adverb. So that's why we put li there. Fluent is an adjective. Fluently is the adverb. She speaks English fluently. Another sample you can read yourself on the screen. Right? Let's move on to the next one. Yeah. The other type of questions in structure or section 2, we have written expressions. That means the questions is not the same as the first one before. It is complete now, but then you have to locate which one is wrong. Yeah, find one incorrect word or phrase. Let's see. The areas that you have to cover. Before we have some points, and here we have more points. Yes, subject, verbs, agreements there again, and then tenses, verb forms, and we have articles, pronouns, and so on. We have word forms as well, and let's have a look at the sample. Okay. Example number 1. The teacher explained the lesson clearly every day. Right? You have another sentence. See, there's always a sentence in the questions, one sentence. And here, what is wrong? Do we have the subject? Of course we have the subject. We have the, but are they correct or incorrect? Which one is wrong? Is it the subject? Is it the verb? If they are both correct, then check the other points, like the grammar points that we have discussed before. The teacher explained the lesson clearly every day. Teacher's good. How about the verb? Is it good? Is it correct? Yes. Yeah. That's right. It is not correct. So the answer is, so that means in the TOEFL test, you choose that one, explain. So which one? Is it A, B, C, or D? Yeah. So the wrong word is explain. Why? You need, what do you need? What do you need? The S. That is for the singular subject, singular noun. Okay. So the verb should be with as at the end. The teacher explains, like she goes, those basic sentences or common sentences, a lot. Yeah. The teacher explains the lesson clearly every day. So it is wrong, but the correct one is explains. The second example, she is interested on learning English. Which one is wrong here? Right? We have interested, the subject is fine, the verb is, and then here we have this adjective. This word, interested, is always followed by not on, but in. Yes, that's right. So that is what is wrong. Okay. So you need to memorize the preposition, like interested in, and then good at before. Yeah, we have that samples as well, and then focus on, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Preposition, that is important. If you need to find, or you need to let's have a look. I think there are around 55 prepositions. Yeah, like places and also movement preposition. And the next one, the number of students. Again, we have the word the number of students in this class are increasing. The number or a number. What we have here is the number. That means you should take what? Singular or plural? Yeah, that's right. So R is wrong there. It should be is. Okay. And now this one. I want to be more interactive. So then please open your microphone or turn on, and you can also say your answer. Okay, let's have a look. I have a lot of questions here. TOEFL ITP questions, tests, the tests here. Let's see. Will be with some different grammar points, right? So please turn on your microphone. And what is the answer for this one? And we can discuss it. Anybody, please? Yes, please.
So the answer for this question would be C, is.
Is. Why is it is?
Because the subject, the manager, and it's singular.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be, and then also the other verb is attending. So it's verb ing and it needs the helping verb. So
Okay, that's very good.
yeah, I think that's
Yes. All right. So we have the subject manager and it comes in singular, right? And then there is along with his, okay, you can ignore that one. That is the preposition phrase. And then we have blank attending. That means this can be the verb, but then it is not complete, right? So is it are? Is it were? And remember, manager is singular. So then your answer, do you agree, everyone? The answer is C. Yes, the answer is attending. Why? The manager. It is not about the assistants, but about the manager. The manager is attending the meeting today. And we have these double commas, the apostrophes, yeah? Then you can ignore that one. And look at that one, okay? Extra information. All right, good. Number 2, please. Thank you. I think what's the name? Aditya? That's good, Aditya. Thank you. Next, please, number 2. What do we have here? Before we have subject-verb agreement, and what is this? What is this now? Not only. Start with that one. Anybody, please? Okay. We have this not only at the beginning. What do you call this? Not only the students, but also, there's another one, but also. That means we have paired conjunctions. Yeah. not only, and then but also, not only the students, but also the teacher, blank, surprised by the announcement. And again, the options we have were, was, are, and all be. Okay, so paired conjunctions always take, like before, we have neither, and then what? Nor, either, or. Okay, how about this one? Why is it was? Is it because of the students or the teacher? The answer is was, singular. Of course, yes. The closest one is the teacher. So take the closest noun, yeah, as the subject. So that's the explanation. There, the nearest subject. Okay. Number 3. Okay, this is the same like before, because although despite, okay, so we have the connector, and but what we have now is not a clause. What we have is the heavy rain. Look at that. What is that? Is that a clause? No, we don't have the verb there. It is only a noun phrase, the heavy rain. So we have the noun phrase there. So then we cannot use because. Right? We cannot use although, we cannot use since. So the answer is yes. Okay, next one. How about this? Right? We have the subject, the book. Do we have the verb? Do we have the verb? Check the subject and then the verb. We have the book as a subject. And what is the verb? Do we have the verb here? Yes? Yes or no? No? We
Yes.
have yes. What is it?
Belongs.
Very good. Okay. The book belongs to the professor. So actually the sentence complete. Okay. You cannot you can use the book belongs to the as the complete sentence. But then this sentence has got something else. Blank on the top shelf. So we have another prepositional phrase here. Okay, on this. But then before that, what is missing? We have placing, placed. Okay. What is it? There should be.
Mr. Andre, excuse me,
Yes.
kindly remind me of the time limit. We will have
Okay.
like 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
thank
I
you.
can go to the other types of questions after this one. Okay. This one, we have placing, place, and then it's placed and place at the end, point D as the option. So we can call, we can say we have this reduce close. All right. Okay. So which one? Which one is the answer?
B.
B.
Placed.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yes. Placed. Okay. That is reduced close. Okay. Then we can also have the complete close. For example, the book, which or that, yes, is placed on the top shelf belongs to me. Okay. So you can have reduced, you can have, but this one, the options, we have the reduced one, and that is the answer B. Okay. And let's move on to the next one. We can go to, sorry. This one. One more or two more questions, but now it is the written expressions. Yeah. Complete already, but then there is one point. It can be a word, it can be a phrase. Which one is wrong here? A, explained clearly, B, or the students, or could, understood. Oh, we have the answer already, yeah? And that is, of course, this one. Whatever the modal can be in the present form or past form, but still, the verb after these modals must be the base form of the verb, okay? Another one. How about this one? We have each of the students That can be the subject. And followed by a verb, have completed. Just check these two. Are they okay? We have the word each. Each is singular, right? So then the verb should be singular as well. So this one, have, is wrong. So not have completed, it should be has completed. So the answer is bravo. Okay. And okay, my final statement. It is about the grammar patterns, right? So you have to master this grammar patterns, and then you can increase your scores. You can have like the highest scores if you understand the patterns. Yeah. Sometimes you don't need to understand the vocabulary. Um, but then if you understand the vocabulary, you know the vocabulary will be better, of course. But then you need to practice or train yourself with this grammar patterns. Yeah. That is the key in the TOEFL ITP structure section. I think that's all because the time is over for me, Miss Rima. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I
Yes.
hope that is useful for you. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Miss
Waalaikumsalam
Rima.
wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Andri. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Andri. I think I have a very bad connection here. Miss Mia, could you please take over?
Okay, so let me take over. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Andre, for the insightful information. Okay, now let's move on to Miss Laura. Okay, is Miss Laura ready?
Yes, I am. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Clear, Laura.
Yes, Laura.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Nice to see you all and nice to see some familiar faces. Hello, everybody. Okay, so in the next 45 minutes, I am going to take over from Mr. Andrew, and I'm going to tell you about the other sections of the TOEFL exam. And I'm also going to share with you some tips and some advice that I think would be useful for your practice. So before I do that, I know there's a lot of people here who don't know who I am. So let me quickly introduce myself to you all. My name is Laura. You can just call me Laura, that's okay. And as you can see, I'm not from Bandung. I do live in Bandung, but I'm not from here. I am originally from England, and I've been living in Indonesia for 6 years, maybe 7 years. It's a long time. So, I've been teaching since then. I've been teaching general English, but also some IELTS and TOEFL as well. So that's what I'm here to help you with today. If you have any questions, I'd be so happy to answer them. But I think we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. So any questions, you can save them for me. So in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to do 4 things. The first one is to give you just a brief idea about what the TOEFL exam will look like. Then I'm going to talk about the other 2 sections. So Mr. Andre talked about the grammar and the structure. I'm going to talk to you about the listening section as well as the reading section. And finally, we're going to end with a quiz if we have time. Let's start with the introduction. I assume that you already know a little bit about the TOEFL exam because you're here. But just in case you have no idea, let's start from the basics. So the TOEFL exam, there's a few different ones, okay? There are internet-based exams and also paper-based exams. Today, I have been asked to talk about the paper-based exam, which is called ITP. If I'm not mistaken, the internet one is very similar in its name. I think oh, I forgot it. You guys will have to Google that one. But yeah, it is a little bit different. So make sure that you know the difference between the paper-based and the internet-based. So this exam, it's an English exam for non-native speakers, of course, and it's used by institutions all around the world. Now, one thing I will say about English exams is that you have to make sure to check the admission requirements for the program that you would like to apply to. So, for example, if you want to study in the University of Melbourne, you have to do your research about which exam they accept. Most people or most places do accept the TOEFL, but some people prefer the TOEFL, for example. So yeah, before you spend your money on your exam, you have to make sure that you are sitting the right exam. That's a good start. Okay, in the TOEFL exam, it's a bit different to other exams because there are only 3 sections. We start with the listening section. So in this section, of course, you will listen to audio tapes. The audio tapes are conversations as well as academic lectures. And then you have to answer some questions about the audio tapes. Next, you all just heard about the structure and written expression section. So I won't talk about this much longer, but yeah, this one tests your grammar skills basically. And then for the last one, we have the reading. So in this section, you will be given some passages of text. You have to read them and then answer some questions about them. So you'll notice that actually there is no speaking in this exam, which is a little bit strange, actually. But yeah, that is just one thing about the TOEFL, which is a little bit different. And also, it's why a lot of people prefer to take the TOEFL because I know that speaking in English can be quite scary. In total, your exam will last around 2 hours, more or less. So it's quite a lengthy exam. Okay, let's start by looking at the listening section of the exam. Here I have some quick bullet points, some quick facts. If you would like to take a screenshot of this picture so you have it for your notes, you can do that. So like I said before, the listening section is the first thing that you will do in the TOEFL exam. And there are 50 questions, okay? 50 multiple choice questions, which is a lot, I know. So yeah, you have to be mentally prepared for the listening section. Actually, the section only lasts 35 minutes. So you do have to concentrate very hard, but it's only for 35 minutes. In the listening exam, you will be given 3 different types of audios. You will be given short conversations, maybe just 1 or 2 lines. You will be given longer conversations. And finally, you will be given short talks. In other words, monologues. So this could look like, for example, a university lecture. So the reason that they have these three different categories is because it's trying to mimic real life, like what life will actually be if you are living in an English-speaking country. Like it says here, again, it tests everyday context. So basically conversations that native speakers have very often. When you're doing your practice for the exam, you'll notice that a lot of the topics are quite similar. So it's usually about rescheduling classes or asking for more information or asking for directions, these kind of really common conversations. The most important thing to note about the listening section, the part which I guess you could say makes it the most difficult, is the fact that each audio clip is only played once. So, unfortunately, if you don't get the answer, if you can't hear it, you just have to move on to the next one because the audio is only played once. That's why it's so important that you are on the ball and you are really fully concentrating. I've put together 6 tips for you when it comes to listening. Now, actually, all of these tips you guys can take for the TOEFL as well as the IELTS and any other English speaking test where you have to practice your listening skills. So the first one I have already said a few times is you really have to concentrate. I know that it's kind of easy to zone out in the exam, but you really cannot do that because, like I said, the audio is only played once. So you do have to really focus for that 35 minutes. The next one is the pacing. So the listening exam, it gives you the audio and then it gives you the question. So the pace is quite fast, okay? I'll tell you more about this one in a second. For now, let's move on to the timing. So again, the timing is quite quick, but if you find that you have extra time, make sure that you read the questions in advance or try and maybe predict what you think the answers could be. So when you have a second to breathe, make sure you take a break, but also be aware of what's coming next. The next piece of advice is never leave any answer space blank. If you leave the space blank, you are guaranteed to get 0 points, of course. However, if maybe you really don't know, but you take a guess or you just fill in any of the options, then there is a chance, like a 25% chance, that you might get the answer, okay? So never leave any space blank. It's better to just put a mark in, even if you're not 100% sure. The next one is probably the most important one, which is to practice your listening skills as often as you can. This was something which was mentioned by the teacher before me, which was about making sure that you practice every day. Actually, practicing listening in English is very easy. It's very nice to do. You can watch YouTube videos. You can listen to podcasts. You can watch Netflix. You can do a lot of really enjoyable things that still involve listening. So make sure that you are listening as much as you can, including different accents. Now, in the TOEFL exam, they usually use in the audio American examples. However, sometimes they will use examples from other English-speaking countries, which is America, England or Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. So while you're practicing your listening, maybe don't listen to one accent all the time. So don't just rewatch Harry Potter because then you'll just learn the British accent. Actually, you have to try and expose yourself to lots of different accents. And the last one is to do some mock tests online. All you have to do is type in TOEFL listening exam examples, and then it will give you lots and lots and lots. There's so many resources available to you online. So make sure you do mock tests so that you know what to expect. And when it comes to the real exam, you will be ready to go and you'll be prepared. Okay, let's move on to the next section. We're going to move on from listening and we're going to talk next about reading. The reading is actually the final section of the exam, which I think is a good thing because you really need to concentrate for the listening. So it's kind of nice that that comes first, but the reading comes last. And again, for the reading section, you will have 50 questions. This time, you will have around 55 minutes to complete the reading section. So if I'm not mistaken, I think it is either the longest section or one of the longest sections. In the reading exam, you will be given more or less 5 different academic passages. So it could be, for example, a transcript from a lecture, or maybe an article or something from a textbook. Those could be in the exam. Again, the reading is there to test your understanding of English. So make sure that you are reading as often as you can, just like listening. The passages are around 250 to 350 words, so they are quite lengthy. And something that's nice about this reading test is that the questions are often asked in the same order as the text. So, for example, question number 1, you might find the answer in the introduction. So try and be really methodical when it comes to the reading. Okay, my next tips this time for the reading exam is, of course, number 1, prepare. Make sure that you are not just reading fiction. Make sure that you try and expand to nonfiction or articles online. There's a really good website that I will put you onto. It's called Engu Daily News. And on this website, what you can do is you can read a text and it tells you all about the difficult vocab. So it's basically a reading site for English as a second language. So yeah, try and expand what you're reading. Try and read about some different topics. The next one is to read the question very carefully. Your previous teacher just told you that unfortunately with the TOEFL, they like to kind of trick you a little bit. So make sure that you really read the question carefully so that you know what the question is asking you. Today, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, to go over the different questions, but there are lots of different question types in the reading section. So again, make sure that you do your research and you prepare for every type of question. This one I already mentioned about being methodical. We have to make sure that you are using your time as best as you can. Even though I told you guys it's 55 minutes, it will go like that. It will go so fast. So you have to make sure that you are often looking at the time so that you're not falling behind. Also, you can learn about the skills of skimming. So quickly reading the article, and then scanning, which is finding the specific details. If you don't know about skimming and scanning, that is something that I would suggest doing some more research about. The next one, don't panic. So sometimes in the TOEFL exam, they give you a text, and the text could be about anything, okay? It could be about something medical, it could be something about animals, it could be something about sports. It really could be anything. So if the topic is something that you have no idea about, don't worry. Because actually, no prior knowledge of the topic is needed. So you don't have to know everything about football to do some questions about football. The answers for the questions are usually given to you in the text. So if you see an article and maybe there's a few words you don't know and it's about a really difficult topic, try not to let that put you off, okay? Try and keep going and answer the questions. Just like the listening, the most valuable way that you can practice is by doing online tests. So again, Google test TOEFL reading questions and then try them yourself. That is the best advice there is for reading and listening. Okay, so I have gone through with you a quick intro about the TOEFL exam. I've talked about the listening with some advice, and I've talked about the reading with some advice. Next, we are going to do a quiz. Now, this quiz I made before on Kahoot. If you have played Kahoot before, that is perfect. If you haven't, don't worry, I will tell you what to do. Now, unfortunately, I think the quiz only allows 10 people in the room. So if you want to join the Kahoot room, you can do that now. You can do that by going to kahoot.it and then putting in the game pin. If you can't enter the room, don't worry, guys. You can use the Zoom chat box to answer. Okay, I'll wait a couple minutes for you to join. Again, if you can't join, don't worry. You can also use the Zoom chat box to answer. Okay, maybe an extra 30 seconds. Okay, I think we will get started. Like I said, if you're not in the Kahoot room, don't worry. You can use the chat box to answer also. Oh, okay, we've still got some joining. I hope this works. Okay, let's see if we can start. What happens on a Kahoot, in case you haven't played this before, is that I'm going to read the question to you, and on your device, you will have 4 different options. If I'm not mistaken, it's red, blue, yellow, and green. On my screen, you will see the different options, so you can choose the correct color on your phone. Let's give this a go, guys. Good luck. I hope it works. Let's see. Okay. 3, 2, 1. How many sections are in the exam? Red, 1, blue, 2, 3, yellow, 4, green. Vote on your device. You have 5 seconds left. It goes quite fast. Okay, nice. 16 of you got that right. Well done. There is 3 different sections of the exam. Great. Okay, let's see who answered the fastest. The fastest was Eddie. Good job. Okay, next. Which of these is not a part of TOEFL ITP? Is it listening, speaking, reading, or structure? You guys have about 15 seconds to answer. Okay. Oh, close. More of you got that one. Yes, it was speaking. So remember I said that the TOEFL ITP, it's a little bit strange because we do not have a speaking section. Good job, guys. How are we doing on the charts? Bebas is now first. Good job, Bebas. Okay, next one. Let's see. It says, which section comes first? Do you think it's listening, reading, structure, or conclusion? Which is first? I'm just going to take you with me because there's someone at my door. Oh, okay, nice. It was 18 of you. Good. The first section is listening. Hold on, I'll be 1 second. Okay, everyone, let's go to the next question. Bebas is still in the lead. The next question is true or false. It says, the question is asked directly after the listening audio is played. Is that true or false? What do we think? You have 5 seconds left. Okay, nice. It is true. So they will play the audio tape for you, and then they will directly ask you the question. So don't worry about your memory if you have a bad memory like me. The question is straight after the audio. Next. Oh, wow, that was a big change. Bebas is gone. Sorry, Bebas. Edit is in the lead again. Okay, how many reading passages will you be given? Is it 10? Is it around 5? 1 to 2? Or none of the above? What do you think? Three, two, one. Okay, good job, guys. It is more or less 5 different passages. Good job. Okay, how are we doing? Adit, Han, and Nift, good job. True or false? The listening and reading section both contain around 50 questions. Listening and reading. What do you think? True is yes, and false is no. Oh, okay. That was quite close. This one is true. So even though the listening section is quite short at 35 minutes, it still has the same amount of questions as the reading. Okay. Han is now in the lead. Good job, Han. Next question. Who is the TOEFL exam marked by? Is it marked by your English teacher? Is it marked by me? Is it marked by your chosen university or a centralized scoring system? What do you think? 3, 2, 1. Okay, yes. I am not the one marking your TOEFL exam, unfortunately. The TOEFL exam, when you're finished, is sent to a scoring place, I guess. And I've heard online that they use AI to mark the multiple choice questions. And I've also read that humans read them. So I'm not really sure about if it's a robot or if it is a human, but yes, it will be marked by, let's say, the TOEFL people. Okay, good try, guys. Han, Nift, you're still in the lead. We also have Amy. Let's come to the next question. Every university accepts the TOEFL ITP exam. Is that true or is that false? What do you think? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This one is false. Good job if you said false. At the beginning, I told you all that you really have to be careful about what kind of English exam your university or the institution you want to go to, you have to check what the requirements are. So sometimes it will be TOEFL, sometimes it will be the internet-based TOEFL, sometimes it could be all of them. So that's why it's really important to check before you do the exam. So this one is false. Okay, well done if you got that one right. Our leaderboard is the same. Okay, next. You'll receive a score for each section as well as an overall score. Is that true or false? What do you think? I didn't mention this one, so this one maybe you know from the past. Yes, good. This one is true. So they'll give you a score for your listening, for the grammar and structure, and also for the reading. which is very useful because you can see which one it is that you have to improve. Again, if you are taking this test to go to a university or apply to a job, you have to check what score they require. It might be a certain score overall or a certain score for only one section. So make sure you guys check that as well. Okay, still the same leaderboard. Excellent job, guys. Han has scored 9 in a row. Wow. Okay, 2 more questions. How long is your TOEFL score valid for? Is it 2 months, 2 years, 6 months, or 6 years? What do you think? Nice. Okay, I didn't mention this one, so I think you knew that before. The answer is 2 years. So keep this in your consideration when you are thinking about the right time to take your TOEFL, because it does run out after 2 years. So let's say you're applying to a university now, but your TOEFL exam, you did it in 2012, it doesn't count, okay? It has to be within the last 2 years. Oh, Amy, you're now second. Good job. We have one last question, everyone. The last one is, what is the total time for the TOEFL ITP test? 30 minutes, around 1 hour, around 2 hours, or around 3 hours? What do you think? Three, two, one. Yes, good job, everybody. It is around 2 hours. So again, a very long exam. So make sure you have a cup of coffee or something before so that you are fully focused and ready to do everything within those 2 hours. Okay, let's see the podium. So in third place, we have Adit. You came back. Good job, Adit. Then we have Suchinta. And number 1 is Amy. Oh my gosh. So Han was 4th, and I didn't see the 5th. Wow, Amy, you got that at the very last minute. Very well done. Okay, everybody. So, from the quiz, I can see you already know a lot about the IELTS exam. Sorry, not the IELTS exam, the TOEFL exam, which is excellent. I hope that the tips that I gave you today are going to be useful. My main advice for, again, any kind of English exam is to make sure that you are practicing every single day. So you are reading, you are listening in English, you are trying to immerse yourself in the language as much as possible. I know it's quite hard to do in Indonesia because when you go out on the streets, everyone's speaking Bahasa Indonesia. But when you're at home, when you're having your alone time, make sure that you are doing as much practice as possible. I've left my contact details here. So if anybody wants to ask me any further advice, or if you want to follow along, I would be very happy to help you. And I think my time is finished, so I'm going to pass it back to our leaders, and then I think we have a Q&A session coming up. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Miss Laura. All right, thank you again for Miss Laura for the very insightful presentation. And I'm going to take over Miss Rima's job here because her connection is unstable. All right, so let's move to Q&A session. We have about 14 minutes for the Q&A session. So if you have some questions, please turn your audio on, or you can send message on the chat box, and please address who is going to answer your question. So please, guys, everyone, if you have some questions, please. Okay.
Hello?
From Evelyn, may we have both of the slides? Wait a minute. What slides? Which slides, Miss Evelyn? What slides that you mean? Oh, both of the PPT files. Okay, Miss Laura, maybe you can share the file in the group, could you?
Yes. Let me try and do that now.
Okay, thank you. All right, while we are waiting for Miss Laura.
Oh, I just did it.
Okay, thank you, Miss. So, Miss Evelyn, there is a link that you can check. It's about the PPT that Miss Laura shared. All right, next question from Aditya Harris. What's the best way to memorize new words when reading articles or novels? Okay. So, whom do you want to, do you want your questions be answered by Miss Laura or Mr. Andre? Okay, maybe anybody who knows how to memorize the new words when reading articles or novels? Miss Laura, do you have some words?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's a good question because if you're like me, Aditya, you might have a very bad memory, so it's really hard to remember lots of words. That happens with me in Bahasa Indonesia. Someone tells me a new word and it feels like it goes in this way and then out this way. So I think the most important thing when you see a new word is not to only learn the word on its own. You have to see the word in context. So sometimes when you're reading a textbook, it gives you like a vocabulary list. For me, that's not useful because I just see it and then I forget it. So if you really want to learn a new word, you have to maybe write down the definition and then write down a couple of examples of that word in a sentence. So then it really clicks when you should use that word. I think that would be my best advice for you. Also, don't worry too much about learning so many words because actually, in English conversation, we don't really use that many words, to be honest. So make sure you've got the basics down first, and then after that, you can expand your vocabulary.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Andre, do you have another opinion about how to memorize a
Yeah.
word.
Okay. Yeah, that is a good advice from Ms. Laura. And for the vocabulary, it can be like, for example, you have a new word when you're reading something, and yeah, of course, you have to find out what the meaning is, but then you also need to relate that word with other words. So how you how you use that word in sentences, right? Of course, the context, and then and from one word you can also find more words. So if you associate that words with the other words, right? So you can have more, even more words from one word that you are looking for, or that you read when yeah, from the novels or from any other materials. I think
Okay,
that can be useful as well.
okay, thank you very much, Mr. Andrew. Thank you. And then there's another question. What should we do if we have the habit of reading out loud? It can be a whisper as well, to concentrate when we are doing the test, because after it becomes a habit, it's kind of hard to get rid of. In practice, we shouldn't do that because it might disturb others, right? Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Andre, could you please state your opinion about that?
You mean when you are doing the test?
Yeah.
Yeah, when
So,
you okay, can you all right. When you are doing the tests, and of course you are in this in a room with many other participants, many other test takers, right? When you are reading out loud, that will be disturbing. So, if it isn't in the test, just read the questions. You can read, you can but then you don't need to read too loud, of course. Yeah, that means when you need to concentrate, you need to focus on the reading or the material. So then you know what to do. You don't need to read too loud. Just maybe you can just say it, but then only your ears can hear, right?
okay,
If
so
that can improve your focus or concentration.
maybe whispering silently. Okay, Miss Laura, do you have another opinion?
I don't think I do actually. That's a really hard question. But yeah, unfortunately, in the test, you cannot make any noise because, yeah, like you said, it might interrupt other people. You could try like mouthing the words, but not actually making any noise. Um, but yeah, when you're alone at home, now that you've found this habit of yours, you can try and not read out loud. Because actually, if you're in a everyday situation, like for example, in a cafe or walking down the street, and you're reading out loud, actually, I think it's okay. But yeah, in an exam, you won't be allowed to do that. So, um, yeah, if it's the TOEFL paper-based, you cannot do that. However, there is also the TOEFL internet-based, which is the one that you do at home. So if you really cannot focus on reading without reading it out loud, then you could take the test at home, I believe. Um, so yeah, try and knock the habit first. And if you can't, you can think about taking the internet based test.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Laura. And another question, if you want to unmute your mic, you are pleased. If you want to say it by yourself.
Hello.
Okay, hello, Miss Anne.
Hello.
Okay, please.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Hello, my name is Annie from Sukabumi. So I would like to ask the question from a teacher's perspective. So I often find people who want to take an English proficiency as soon as possible, like the following week or the following month. And then, their English level is, say, A1, but of course, they want to score as high as possible in their test for a very limited sum of time. Yeah, of course, remembering patterns like this and applying hacks and tips help, but we all know that it can't just happen overnight, especially when they're of beginner level. So my question is, how long does it take ideally to prepare for a test? In this case, TOEFL ITP.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Anissa Putri. That was a good question. So, Ms. Laura, first, could you please state your opinion about that?
Yeah, okay, excellent question. Thank you, Annie. I agree with you that 1 week is impossible, I'm afraid. 1 week and then their level is A2. It's quite unrealistic that they're going to get the score that they really need. So I'd maybe give them, in English, we say some tough love. So tell them that maybe now is not the right time to take it because you obviously don't want to waste your money because the exam is quite expensive as well. So, because with the exam that we talked about today, there is no speaking, that makes the test a little bit easier, I would say, than some other English tests. I would give minimum 6 months. I know that sounds like a long time, but yeah, like we said, the listening section is very intense. Same with the reading section, really. And then, as Andrew talked about before, the grammar section, there is a lot of little tricks that they're going to send your way. So I would say 6 months. Mr. Andrew, do you agree?
All right. Yeah, especially when it's you start or let's say your students start from A1 or A2 or even A2. Yeah. Um, it's challenging. It is not difficult. It is challenging, and we need a lot of time to improve and to get the score that they expect, right? But then again, I have to say that we need strategy. We need the knowledge of this exams, like you're taking the IELTS or and then taking especially TOEFL for now because we are talking about the TOEFL, yeah. And there is no instant way. There is no shortcut, yeah. And what you need to do is to practice, to train, right? And just like the saying that victory loves preparation. So we need to prepare, and that preparation needs time, needs takes hardship. So that's why, again, I told you there is no instant way. There's no shortcut. 6 months, I agree. Okay. Um, it depends. It depends on the individual, depends on your intention. Maybe 3 months also enough to improve the scores a little bit, but then it depends on your target as well. Like let's say A1, A2, maybe the TOEFL score is around 300 something before 400, or a bit more from 400, and to improve it to 500, yeah, 6 months. I think not 1 week. Definitely, it is impossible. I think that's what I can say to respond to that question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Andri and Ms. Laura. Next question, please. We still have about 4 minutes in Q&A session. If you still have questions, you are please to unmute your mic. Anyone? Okay, maybe while we are waiting for another question, I got a question first, in the chat box. She was asking about, TOEFL, IBT, and ITP. So if you don't mind, could you please explain about the difference between TOEFL, IBT, and ITP? Miss Andri first.
Okay. Yeah. Like Miss Laura before said, it's a bit strange that we don't have the speaking yet, but this is the form or the format of the ITP, right? And the difference, that is one of the difference. In the IBT, we have that skill tested as well, the speaking. Like in the IELTS, we have those 4 skills: listening, reading. There's no structure actually. That's also the difference. We have writing and speaking. Yeah, so all skills, productive and receptive skills, and the format is completely different. And for example, the speaking. So you have to speak on some topics, and the topics comes in listening, and then the combination between listening and reading, and also the writing, the same, yeah. And yeah, like almost the same as IELTS, if you're talking about the IBT, but not quite the same. Of course, the form is also different. In the IELTS, you have the speaking directly with the assessors, but then in the IBT, the speaking also comes from the computer, right? So you are talking to the computer, and then your answers will be saved there. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's what I can remember about the IBT.
All right. Ms. Laura, do you want to have some words?
Yeah, I think the main difference was just said by Andrew, which was about the addition of the speaking. Because there is an additional part, this exam, the IBT, is of course longer. If I'm not mistaken, the duration of the exam is like 4.5 hours. So I don't know about you all, but 4.5 hours to me is such a long time. The test that we talked about today, as you remember, was 2 hours. So yeah, the internet-based test does take a longer time. I think that's another difference, big difference.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Is there other questions? You can raise your hands, or maybe you can send the question on the chat box. All right then. So if there is no more question, let's move on to the conclusion session. So to sum up from Mr. Andrew and Ms. Laura, we can conclude that we need to calm down in doing the test. Don't panic, right? So that you can listen, do the structure part, and read well. And you also need to manage and keep checking the time that is running. And it's also a benefit if you are knowledgeable in grammar and vocabularies. And if you have enough time to prepare the test, you can practice in listening audios, reading articles, and learning about English grammar. And you need about 6 months to master that, okay? Because it's not instant to get a good score. All right, so that is the conclusion of the material for today. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our webinar. And before we close the webinar, there are some offers that you might be interested in, and the offers are special for the webinar participants only. Okay, so here it is. Mr. Raihan, could you please share the screen? Okay, so here are the benefits that you can get. Of course, you can get a free prediction ITP TOEFL test in offline, offline in some in our offices. Let me switch to bahasa. So, teman-teman bisa mendapatkan tes prediction ITP TOEFL test itu secara gratis di kantor kami yang ada di Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan Sumedang. Dan untuk di ILP Bandung dan Tasikmalaya, insya Allah akan diadakan tes TOEFL gratis untuk prediction test di hari Sabtu minggu ini. Dan untuk di Sumedang karena banyaknya peminat, jadi kami masih mendiskusikan waktunya, insya Allah minggu depan nanti diinformasikan di grup saja. Oke, and then benefit yang kedua itu kalian bisa dapatkan official test TOEFL ITP officialnya yang dari ITS itu dengan harga 599.000 saja dari 650.000 di diskon jadi 599.000 saja. Kemudian benefit yang ketiga bisa mendapatkan TOEFL preparation class dengan gratis biaya pendaftaran dan buku senilai 250.000. So those are benefits yang kalian bisa dapatkan. Kalau misalnya ingin tanya-tanya tentang kelas kami, bisa di contact personnya di sini. Ada ILP Bandung, Tasikmalaya, dan ILP Sumedang. Seperti itu. Okay, so well, that's it all we have for today. And thank you very much for your active participation and great questions. And thank you for all the speakers, the guests, and all of the participants. You have done great job today. And could you please, guys, turn on your camera because we are going to have a documentation before we leave the webinar. Ya, kita foto dulu untuk dokumentasi. Bisa di turn on kameranya semuanya. Mr. Raihan, tolong didokumentasikan ya.
Baik, sebentar ya Miss. Boleh ditahan posenya beberapa menit guys, karena ada beberapa slide. Oke, slide pertama 1, 2, 3. Oke, slide kedua ditahan. 1, 2, 3. Terakhir slide ketiga. 1, 2, 3. Oke, sudah. Terima kasih Miss. Kembali.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Raihan, for taking the pictures. Okay. Nah, let's move to the closing right now. Thank you very much for all the participants again, the speakers, and the guests. I'm Mia Rahmawati signing off. So have a good night, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Laura,
Good
thanks
night.
a lot, Laura. Thank you.
No problem. Good evening, everyone.